What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be ranking every villager in LEGO Fortnite. So we're going to start off with the Bright Bomber. So the Bright Bomber is an eccentric LEGO character with bright pink hair with tinted sunglasses. While world seeds determine the first NPC you encounter, she is usually the first one you meet. Standard. That's why we go with her first. Aside from being somewhat a cryptic encyclopedia with some quirky quotes, you can nonetheless put her to work as soon as you join your travels. If you must, she has to really stick around, as naturally she is the very first one. She's got to be in if they must. We then have Hayseed. So, as you could imagine, he is a farmer. He naturally is dressed like a farmer, and the big thing that he provides when it comes to your world, and especially towards your village, is, as you'd imagine it, collecting crops. Mainly seeds, if anything, and it does get the most seeds out of anyone, I believe, to this date, but naturally, do you need it that much? I found myself not really bothering too much with the whole farming side of LEGO Fortnite, more towards the actual exploration of it. So, it depends on what you kind of want from him, but I do think he's probably in the okay. If he's yielding more than anybody else, then he could potentially get a bed. Then we have Silas. So he is number 27 on this list. There is 29 in total. And to be honest, other than maybe having a funky jacket and some headphones on, he's pretty useless. There is no actual extra component that he does. There is literally nothing but morale from him. So, no bed. We then have Dana. Now, Dana is one of them characters that you'll find out in the world. She will not actually come to you, but she will give you small talk and give you some advice on blasters. Naturally, she isn't going to be a full villager in your LEGO Fortnite career, but she is going to be somebody that could help you with some advice if you've never seen a blaster or anything like that. But for that reason, no bed. Then we have Sprocket. So she is, as you can imagine, a mechanic. So in natural kind of aspects, she technically has no job in this game because we don't have any cars. We don't have any flying things. We don't have anything to repair. But there is always a reason why they're around. So I think naturally going forward, they will add some sort of transportation that we don't have to physically make ourselves. Otherwise, there wouldn't be blasters, there wouldn't be wheels. So naturally, at the moment, she's probably in a very much a if they must category, maybe even a no bed, because technically she has nothing to do with this. But in the future, she could be put in that must villager slot. We then have Rex. Rex is a very funny character. He is obviously wearing a full dinosaur costume, and he really isn't good at anything. But he is going to be an alpha predator one day, and naturally, we can only salute that. So he's a must villager for me. We then have Robin. Robin is very much like Dana, doesn't have anything to do with us, so she gets no bed. She just gives us advice. We then have Raptor. Raptor is somewhat of an aviator. He does tell you this, basically, that he has got a background in aviation, which, if you didn't know, is basically flying. Naturally, at the moment, he doesn't necessarily have too many roles when it comes to it. Very much like Sprocket, he's almost put in there for a natural cause later on. They're kind of giving you some snippets of what's to come with it. I think at the moment, just purely on the basis that he is a little bit decent with advice from bios, naturally with sometimes he gives you critter advice. He can be in if they must, but again, like Sprocket, he could jump himself straight up that leaderboard if we do get some sort of plane mechanics in the game. We then have Otis. Otis is kind of like a farmer to some extent. He is predominantly more, by my standards, more of a baker of anything. So when it comes to Hayseed, we've obviously got the farmer, someone who's going to actually collect the materials. Whereas when it comes to Otis, his dialogue reveals he's more interested in various ingredients and their unique flavors. So I would say he's kind of more of the bacon side of it. And to be honest, when it comes to it, I'm just going to put him in if they must. We then have Skye. She is somewhat of a Viking warrior. She is technically from a long line of Viking warriors in herself, and she is the perfect companion to assist you on your journeys. So if you want an NPC to fight with you in the caves, if you want them just to explore, to take on stuff, she's going to be a beautiful companion that you can have by your side. Whether she's the best, we'll get into that. Then we have Tabby. Obviously a cat, but in terms of what she can reveal to you, she is a treasure hunter. So this is the perfect sort of villager that will go out and find gems for you, especially rough, uncut gems basically. So she is going to be absolutely spot on for the later side of the game, because naturally we need a lot of different gems from Amber, Ruby to Sapphire. So she is going in to the top of the top. We then have Sunflower. Sunflower is pretty much what they say, a ranch hand. She is someone who's going to be great around your village and somebody that could actually either take care of stuff, make stuff. She's kind of got a whole host of ranch skills as such. But in terms of what we need her for in specific jobs, there isn't one that I'm saying she is number one at. So if they must, they can go in. If not, they can get out. Are you looking for gift cards, game keys, and more? Head over to U7Buy for a variety of cards you can get today. From PSN, Steam, all the way to Xbox. With huge amounts of price variations, check the link in the description for cheap, reliable digital cards for you right now. We then have Peely. Peely is outstanding. He is one of them ones that you've just got to have in your village. If he manages to come into the village, you cannot let him leave. It is possible to find a blue frozen version of him as well in the Ice bio or the Frostlands bio. So if you want to go for the slightly more rare one, he is a jack of all trades and a jack that is going straight into the village. We then have Beef Boss. He is the perfect person at this point in LEGO Fortnite because, as you can imagine, he is a chef. He is a beef boss, is a great chef. And naturally, he is great at getting resources and also cooking the food. So perfect for your village because naturally, that is a big thing that you've got to get for. And if you do have a massive stack of food just from what he's preparing, then naturally, you're going to survive a lot longer in LEGO Fortnite. We then have Meowscles. Now this guy is a definite one. Now we did have obviously Skye in the kind of companion area, whereas I think I'd just prefer Meowscles. He is absolutely outstanding. You make sure you give him a sword, and if you are going on a long expedition, bring more swords with him because naturally he goes to town on everything. So he is a must villager. We then have Petra, who is a archaeologist. Whether that has any sort of skill in LEGO Fortnite at the moment, maybe in the future, but for right now, unfortunately, she's not getting to bed. Then we have Roan. Roan is predominantly somebody that will forage for, forage and gather fertilizing for your crops. That again, if you are in the farming business, is going to be actually really beneficial. Fertilizer isn't the easiest to get, and most definitely, if you don't have to do it yourself, I'd class that as a win. I wouldn't say it's a must for your village, but I'd put it next to Hayseed for okay. We do then have Sparkplug, which is very much like Sprocket. They don't have technically no reason to be in the game at this point, but naturally as we go forward, I can imagine they are definitely going to have some sort of variation that does require vehicles. Or is one of them ones that is more to decorate the village. There is no reason for it. She has got no kind of beneficial reason why she should even be in your village. We then have another addition to just a generic NPC in the game in Blue Squire. Blue Squire is dropped head to toe in medieval armor, and he predominantly just goes on about how he's visited every biome in the game. As this is based on what villagers you need, unfortunately he's no bed because he can't be a villager. We then have another NPC which would go great with Rex, and that is going to be our man Gus. Gus is actually wearing a Tyrannosaurus Rex helmet, whereas I don't think Rex is, which is just hilarious in itself. As they are both got to be together at all times, we're going to put him in a must villager, why not? So then we have Nugget. Nugget is your generic cowboy in this game. He isn't really kind of got a job either. He is a gold prospector as kind of what he proclaims, but realistically, he doesn't have a job. There's nothing really too much for him to do here, so if he must, he can have a bed. If not, he can kind of just stay to the sideline. We then have Cuddle Team Leader. So this is an NPC that is predominantly one of them ones that is good everywhere, but as she is a team leader, she is pretty good on the exploration. I wouldn't say she's number one, as to be honest, Meowscles would absolutely eat her alive, so she's going to go in okay, but as a starter person, she's not going to be terrible. We then have our man Flint. He is very much the male version of Petra and doesn't necessarily have too much of a job right now, but he could potentially have one in the future, but as Petra's there, Flint's got to be there as well. We then have Lionbrand. He again is another NPC, but can be given a sword which is always protective, and naturally with a name like Lionbrand you'd expect him to be pretty good on explorations. He is pretty decent in the caves as well from what is suggested, and naturally whilst you're getting your resources such as your knotwood from obviously the grassland caves or even obsidian in the lava caves, he is going to be a great companion in them cave scenarios. We then have Snowcap, so as you can imagine you can make multiple villages, and predominantly these last three are going to be all found in the Frostland bio. She is an exploration character and most definitely will help you on your journey to explore all of the Frostlands in LEGO Fortnite, so she is a pretty must in that sort of bio. We then have Slush. Probably one of the most useless ones when it comes to the Frostland bio. He literally has no idea other than about penguins, which are not even in the game. So when it comes to Slush, unfortunately, he's just got to be a no-go. We then have Yeti. Yeti is a must yes, everything yes, and 100% yes. He is a rare villager that you can find in the Frostland bio, and naturally good at exploration and scaring off anybody that comes your way. But it's a Yeti. You've got to say yes. And then finally, Fishsticks. A very, very iconic character across the whole Fortnite franchise. Again, he's got to be a yes, and he's going to help you with your Fortnite journey in anywhere you progress.